You talked to me
Oh,
about the Zeus experience. Who
I
contacted you? What did they
Terry
say?
Garvin. Terry Garvin called me one day. I was at home. I was watching the evening news. And I get a phone call about 5 o'clock in the evening, and he laid the whole situation out for me. What would be done, and how long minimum time this would last, and what was expected, and so forth and so on. Basically, I was to take a guy that had no idea how the road worked and make sure he was in the building. That was the basic idea. Um, make sure he got to his hotels, make sure he found the building, which was not, people don't understand back in the days when all you had was a piece of paper map. Sometimes the building, and then you ask people and they don't know. Or, you ask the agents, and they give you the address. And I'm like, okay, that didn't do me a whole lot of good. Today I just type it in and I'm good, right? But you could. So anyway, that was that was the job, and that paid per day, and then wrestling paid per man, and so I'm like, Terry, I'd be a fool to turn this down, regardless of what anybody else wants to think. And we were together about 10 months. I started with him, traveling with him March, right after WrestleMania that year, whatever that was. So if it was April, it was April. It would be like the first 2 days if it was April. And then we were together until like January of the next year, 89 into 90.
Wow. How do you guys get along?
In the beginning, it was a little testy. In the beginning, he didn't trust anybody. And in some reasons, I don't blame him because some of the boys made it miserable on him. Because here's a guy coming from the outside, getting these decent paydays, really good paydays. And they're busting their ass every night. That resentment started. And he didn't make it easy on himself because he was real reserved and all that because of it. And it was one of those snake eating his tail situations. Uh, and he tested me a few times. I guess to see if I was going to stooge him off or just because he thought he could get by with it. I don't know. We were in Nova Scotia, of all places, until he was sitting there having lunch with us. And I lost it. No, we were in Newfoundland. We were in Newfoundland. We were on the island of Newfoundland. And I just told Zeus I'd had all I could take. Tested me, you know, and we need to go outside. And I was about halfway to the parking lot when I thought, what an idiot am I? I just offered this guy this size outside. If he follows me, I can't get off this island quick enough. But I couldn't back down either because I had let my temper get the best of me.
Right.
He's like, come here. And from that point forward, we never had a crosswalk. From that point forward, I would say we were friends. Even though I'm basically his caretaker. But yeah, in the beginning, he tested me. When I stood up for myself, that was the old time. I don't know anything about the guys today, but the old timers, a lot of them had that same mentality. And even though he wasn't an old timer, it was just that street mentality. I'm gonna check you, and if you take it, you're gonna keep taking it. But if you don't take it, hey, I got respect for you.
Can I ask, when you say tested you, can you give me an example?
Just what I would do or what I wasn't going to do and when I should be doing. You just tell me exactly what I was going to do and what I'm not going to do. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're the first job, but I also have another job. And I forget exactly what was said after that, but it was like, oh, I've had it. And like I said, I got about halfway down that lobby. So we're in the restaurant at the hotel. And I'm like, this was a horrible move. But I couldn't back down either. I
Right.
talked myself into that corner. Thankfully, he was just testing me. He wasn't mad about it. He was just, yeah.
How did he interact with the fans?
He loved the women. I did that I remember. Around the buildings, he was fairly smart to the idea that he can't. He's Zeus in the buildings. And we didn't have to really clue him into all that. He was with it from the beginning. in the gyms, he'd have to work out. Every town we're at a different gym. He was real outgoing with those guys, and the girls, the folks who run the gyms, and the restaurants. He was really nice to folks. Well, yeah, he was like Eddie Farhat or Abdullah, some of those guys that the switch flipped once they got in the car, headed to the building. All of a sudden they became who they were. Yeah. It was the same thing with Zeus.
Any interactions with Macho Man during all this time?
Yeah, him and Lanny both. I could sit there and have. In fact, Lanny and I traveled together quite a bit. So I was around Randy a little bit because of that. Everything you hear about him being intense, and it's true. But I never really had any. Well, he got mad at me one time, I'm sure, or two, maybe even three, because he would get aggravated at just about anybody at one time or another. But he was always really nice to me. Always really. He was another one that was a little snug though. Man, it was one of. I remember there's an old saying, when the lights, that red light goes on the camera, when the lights go on, you have to look snug. And the house shows won't have to look so snug. And I remember that old mentality, and he believed it. Because when I worked with him on TV, oh dear God, that elbow drop, a couple other moves, they were there. Looked at him and you'd have him in a house show, you just like never felt him.